5 years ago, Star Trek fans were treated to a haunting "what if?" a glimpse into a future where Star Trek Deep Space Nine DS9 returned for another season. But despite the enthusiasm it generated, it was a promise that was never meant to be fulfilled. Not because of lack of interest, but because the world and Star Trek had changed too much. What was teased was not a continuation, but a spectral echo of what once was. And for DS9 fans, it was both a gift and a heartbreak. The moment came in 2018 when the long-awaited documentary What We Left Behind was released. Produced by DS9 showrunner Ira Stephen Bear and directed by David Zapponi, the documentary was more than a retrospective. It was a resurrection. Alongside interviews and behind-the-scenes revelations, the creative team did something radical. They imagined a Season 8. They outlined a full premiere episode. They showed fans what could have been if the stars had aligned. But 5 years later, that dream of a DS9 continuation remains frozen in time, a beautiful mirage we'll never reach. The Season 8 that might have been, in What We Left Behind, the original writers, including Bear, Ronald D. Moore, and Robert Hewitt Wolfe, sat down to brainstorm a theoretical Season 8 opener. Set 20 years after the series finale, their episode featured Jake Sisko returning to the station, now rebuilt and modernized. Kieran Neris was still in command. Quark was still dealing. Bashir and Garrick's relationship had evolved. And Benjamin Sisko? Missing, perhaps lost in the Celestial Temple, still consumed by his destiny as the emissary. In the imagined episode, a new threat emerges, and the crew is drawn back together. Old tensions simmer. New alliances form. And most importantly, DS9 proves it still has stories left to tell. This brief revival, fictional though it was, reignited fan passion. The boldness of the storyline, combined with the emotional power of seeing DS9's characters older, wiser, and more weathered, made the absence of a real Season 8 feel all the more tragic. Why it can never happen? There are several reasons this teased continuation can never become reality, some logistical, others philosophical. First, the passage of time. DS9 ended in 1999. By 2018, many cast members had aged out of their original roles, and some key figures, like Renee Auberjonois-Odo and Aaron Eisenberg-Nobb, have since passed away. Their absence casts a long shadow. Without them, DS9 wouldn't feel whole. Second, the Star Trek franchise has moved on. New shows dominate the landscape. Discovery, Picard, Strange New Worlds, and animated entries like Lower Decks and Prodigy. Each has its own tone, its own rhythm. DS9 serialized, morally complex storytelling, once controversial within the Star Trek fandom, is now the norm, but the space it once occupied is filled by new stories, new captains, new crews. Reviving DS9 now would mean more than just picking up where it left off. It would be navigating a vastly different creative universe. Third, DS9 was always the underdog. Unlike The Next Generation or Voyager, it never enjoyed massive mainstream popularity during its original run. Its true appreciation came after the fact, thanks to streaming and word of mouth. A continuation now would require immense fan demand, a strong streaming hook, and significant investment. While Picard and Strange New Worlds got that chance, DS9's window seems to have closed. The emotional weight of What We Left Behind. Part of what made the Season 8 tease in What We Left Behind so impactful was the self-awareness of the project. The documentary wasn't selling a backdoor pilot. It was a meditation on memory, loss, and legacy. It asked, what happens when we grow old with our stories? What do we take from them, and what do we leave behind? In many ways, DS9 was always about this question. Its characters were flawed, evolving, broken, and healing. Its arcs weren't reset at the end of every episode. Major characters died. Empires fell. Even victory came with compromise. So it's fitting that DS9's own return should follow that same tone, bittersweet, beautiful, and ultimately fleeting. DS9 lives on, in spirit, not in sequel. While a literal Season 8 can't happen, DS9's influence permeates the modern Star Trek canon. The politics of Discovery, the character depth of Picard, and the episodic serialized hybrid of Strange New Worlds all owe a debt to DS9. Characters from the series have resurfaced, too. Nana Visitor's Kira was referenced in Lower Decks. Worf's transformation, shaped by his DS9 years, has become central to his role in Picard. Even Garak and Bashir's legacy lives on in fanfiction and tie-in novels. Most importantly, DS9's spirit, bold, introspective, morally complex, continues to challenge and inspire fans. It remains the Star Trek show that dared to question the Federation, to spotlight fate, to confront war and peace not as absolutes, but as a spectrum. Conclusion: a perfect ending. 5 years ago, we were gifted a glimpse of what could never be, a reunion not with actors, but with ideas. What we left behind didn't just tease a new DS9 season. It reminded us why we loved the show to begin with. There will never be a true Season 8, but maybe that's okay. DS9 was never about satisfying endings. It was about the struggle, the journey, the uncertain future. In that sense, it's still going, just not on television. And in every corner of the galaxy, in every fan theory, in every rewatch, DS9 still endures. Still watching the stars. Still asking the hard questions. Still waiting for the emissary to return.